What do I see here? One of my favorite types of items to find at the thrift store, sports collectibles.
American Arbitrage.
Who said you can't go thrifting on New Year's Eve? It's New Year's Eve and I want to go thrifting. I'm at my favorite place, Savers, and I'm about to pick the luckiest card I can find and see what I can get today. Let's start off in the collectibles area. I love bobbleheads. This one in particular, though, not a fan of. It's kind of a generic Windows one. Plus $5.99 is more than I'd like to pay. Back in the day, I used to get a lot of these Jim Beam bottles like you see here. They need to be empty, number one, to sell on eBay. And second, they just don't sell very fast. I had to unload a ton of them at the swap meet myself. Let's see what else we find. I found a couple train bookends. I like bookends. I like train stuff. I would have picked these up at $4.99, but they were generic. I couldn't see any brand on them. I might have still been able to make a profit if I bought them, but I decided to pass. But I didn't pass on this next item. I love finding sports collectibles at the thrift store. This is a Darryl Strawberry statue back when he played on the Dodgers. Sports Impressions, only $2,950 made, $3.99. I should be able to make about 25 to 30 plus shipping on this. Onto the good old mug section. This section is a great bread and butter section at the thrift store because every thrift store has a ton of mugs and typically they're inexpensive. Look for Disney, look for pop culture. I didn't find anything of note today, unfortunately, so I am moving on. The office supply section. This is a great place to find supplies for yourself, actually. Instead of going, to the store to get pins and stuff like that, I oftentimes will get them here. You can get a ton for a good price. Now, here's one of my favorite things to find. Old pencil sharpeners, the old hand crank ones they used to put on the wall. This is a Sanford Giant. I should be able to get about $12 to $15 plus shipping on that. Always looking for those jerseys. I don't find them that much, but I love to check out, see if I can find any. Another bread and butter thrift store section, the hat section. I love to find snapbacks. That Reese's one was tempting. I love to find ones that are like this style of this South Carolina hat right here. It still had the tags, this South Carolina hat. Unfortunately, I didn't get it. I would have bought it, no problem, but it had some staining. I didn't want to deal with that, but that's basically the style you want to look for, the 90s snapback retro goodness. A lot of times you're going to see them with the shark tooth print or kind of like the paint print. Those do really well. I'm also looking for Mitchell and Ness. They could do kind of a modern retro one, or any sports leagues or sports hats that could have any value. That's my jam. There's other ones that can do well, like Vans or certain brands. There's the U. I went to the UAU. Go Utah. What else? Let's see if I find anything else. For the most part, stay away from these Super Bowl hats. They don't do well. Toy bags and the toy section in general at the thrift store is a great opportunity to find things to flip. You can find Power Rangers like this. There wasn't quite enough in that bag for me to pick it up. You can find Marvel stuff. You can find all sorts of action figures. There's a Captain America and a Rocksteady, I believe, from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, a Black Panther toy, but there is a few that I find. This one, I didn't look up while I was there, but it's an electronic one. It's a like 12 to 14 inch figure. At $2.99, I decided I'm definitely going to pick that up and flip it. This is a good quality bag right here at $2.99. There's Imaginext figures. I believe there was a Pokemon action figure, a whole bunch of good stuff in that bag. Got another good bag here. This bag has some Power Rangers in it. It had a vintage plastic Red Ranger in it, and it also has a more modern Power Ranger in it. You always want to look for these action figures that have articulation at the waist, at the knees, at the feet. That typically means a figure is going to be worth more money. It's higher quality, and a lot of people use these figures for toy photography. There's a big movement for that, so these toys have good value. I looked at these. You can find those at Dollar Tree, but sometimes they're a couple years old and hard to find. Could have value. Had to look a little bit at clothes. Not my thing, really. This had some stains in it and really wasn't quite worth it, so I passed. Important part of reselling is always pushing yourself. I'm not a big fan of the electronics section because of all the extra work it takes to test items and also ship them, but it paid off today. I found an awesome piece. Check this out. This is a Denton piece right here. This is actually a pretty rare cassette deck. It's only $7.99, and I was surprised to find out how much it was worth. This is amazing. I looked it up, and I found one that had one bid, and it sold for $289 plus shipping. Honestly, it might even go for a little bit more because that was an auction, but I'm going to put it up at about $300. I'm going through all the testing right here, making sure it turns on, the tape player is going backwards, forwards, the eject works, everything looks to be in order. So stoked. When I started doing live auctions in Utah, I'm an auctioneer here. I used to buy these all the time to flip at my local auction. I usually get them for about $3 to $5. Sometimes I'd make $10, $15. They don't do too well on eBay, but for whatever reason, I sold them quite a bit locally. Sometimes local is the best way to sell an item. Here's something you're going to find at almost every thrift store, these old iHome speakers that you put your old iPods in. There might be a few models that have value, but I've yet to find any. I always stay away from those. This is a cool little VHS set of, I guess, how to make rose art or something. I definitely passed on that, but it looked interesting. I see something I like. Vintage cards. In general, I stay away from them. This has a couple cool vintage score rookies. Juan Gonzalez, who is a great player. But I did get some basketball stuff that's here because basketball, especially the late 80s, is starting to get a little bit more valuable. And I found a couple unopened packs. Now, it looks to me like there's a few rookies in here. Nobody great on the ends, but inside there might be a couple decent ones like a David Robinson. I ended up getting a few bags of these, mostly because of the packs, because I want to open them up. I had just turned 17 in the year 2000, Y2K. Everybody thought everything was going to go crazy with the computer bugs and everything. Nothing happened. I'm getting this. I think it's probably worth a few bucks. I might end up keeping it, actually. If you enjoyed this video, take a second, like it, and subscribe. I'm going to be making more thrifting videos and eBay videos in general. Thanks.